So you're telling me the United States government wants proof that a company actually wanted to hire someone from another country, and not just hand them a golden ticket past the border control velvet rope. And honestly, that's a fair ask, because without some kind of check, any corporation could just wave a foreign worker through and call it a job offer. The whole thing starts with something called a perm labor certification, which is basically the government saying, okay, prove to us you couldn't find an American to do this job first. It sounds a little insulting if you think about it too hard, like being asked to show your receipts just to prove you went to the grocery store. The employer has to run a full recruitment campaign, and we're not talking about one sad LinkedIn post that 3 people saw at 2 in the morning. We're talking newspaper ads, state job postings, internal job listings, and sometimes even on-campus recruiting, all documented like you're building a legal case, because you literally are. Every application that came in from a domestic worker has to be reviewed, and if you rejected those applicants, you better have a real reason ready. They weren't the right vibe is not going to cut it with USCIS, but they lacked the required 5 years of experience in this specific software absolutely will. The job description itself becomes a piece of evidence, and this is where things get sneaky in a way that would make any reality TV producer proud. If the requirements are suspiciously specific, like demanding exactly 7 years of experience in a program that's only been around for 6, USCIS will raise an eyebrow so high it leaves the building. They call those unduly restrictive job requirements, and they're basically a red flag that the employer wrote the description around one specific person they already had in mind. It's the immigration equivalent of writing "must enjoy long walks on the beach" with a golden retriever named Biscuit on a dating profile when you already have a date. The wage being offered also has to match what's called the prevailing wage, which is the average pay for that type of job in that specific region. If a company is offering $42,000 a year for a software engineer in San Francisco, USCIS is going to look at that like a raccoon looking at a salad. The employer has to maintain a recruitment report that logs every single candidate, what happened to them, and why they weren't selected. Think of it as a paper trail that tells the story of a very stressful job search season, except written in bureaucratic prose instead of anxious group chats. Now here's something most people don't realize. The job has to actually exist as a real, permanent, full-time position, not a temporary gig dressed up in a blazer. USCIS wants to see that this is a genuine, long-term role the company plans to fill, not a loophole they're wearing like a costume. If the worker is already employed by the company in some capacity, that relationship gets scrutinized too, because it can raise questions about whether the whole process was just a formality. It's a bit like asking your cousin to apply for your job opening, while secretly already knowing they're getting it, and then acting surprised when family dinners get weird. The company's financial ability to pay the offered wage is another piece of the puzzle, and yes, USCIS checks this too. If a startup with $12 and a dream is claiming they'll pay a foreign engineer $200,000 a year, someone is going to need to see the bank statements. A good immigration lawyer is worth their weight in approved I-140 forms during all of this, because the margin for error is basically the width of a single hair. One inconsistency between the job ad, the recruitment report, and the petition can send the whole thing back to square one. What makes this process genuinely fascinating, in a slightly unhinged way, is that it's essentially the government asking employers to prove a negative, that no qualified American applied and wanted the job. It's like being asked to prove you looked everywhere for your keys, and the government wants sworn affidavits from every couch cushion. The whole system is designed to protect domestic workers while also allowing employers to find global talent when the local pipeline genuinely runs dry. Whether it always succeeds at that balancing act is a question immigration lawyers, economists, and policy wonks will happily argue about until the end of time. If you want to understand how our company helps employers and workers navigate every single one of these steps without losing their minds, check out our links in the description.